You're watching a production of South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
To savor something is really to take the time to enjoy the essence of it.
It can be in food, but to me, sitting back and looking at a sunrise or a sunset is savoring just the moment there. And in foods, it's just probably like the comfort foods that we have, and just leaning back on recipes that your parents had and that you've enjoyed all your life.
Agriculture's changed, and there's no doubt about it, but I think it's changed for the good, honestly, and I'm proud of what I do, so I'm willing to answer any question we can.
What we want to do is get kids excited about eating healthy and growing vegetables at a very early age.
But I love it. I found my passion, basically. It's a lot of work, but I love every minute.
Baking for me really reminds me of family gatherings, of, memories of grandparents and parents, and, it's just really that special time. And I think that's why I really enjoy baking so much. Just kind of have those memories as you're putting these exact ingredients together.
First time I baked a cake was for one of the kids in the main for her birthday. I had to be careful and I had to do it right, and that extra effort about caring for somebody and making sure that they have a treat. And I was really excited to do something for her that was nice.
It's really wonderful to be surrounded by all that useful energy at the camp. So what are some of the things that you teach at the camp?
We teach language, our history, basic information about our culture that doesn't always get taught in other places. We teach about our medicinal plants and edible plants and nature and how we survived with simply the things surrounding us.
How do you find these kids? Is it through the school during the year, or are they just always the same kids that keep coming back? Or
we do have a number of kids, core kids, that come back every year that really make a connection with our staff, and we introduce ourselves through the school systems. We do in-school and after-school programs in the school districts in Gregory, Todd, Millette County that are part of the Rosebud Indian Reservation.
Well, and what's unique is you're teaching them about the land and then the bees as the pollinator, but then you're kind of taking it even further, because then it's like, here now we can make honey, we can sell the honey.
But once again, we started working with bees about 3 years ago. A tribal member from the Pine Ridge Reservation came over, a colleague of mine, Dave Braveheart, came and shared with me that he was a hobby beekeeper. And he shared with us that there's serious problems with bees, with the pesticides or the things that are affecting the bee population. And so we invited him to come and speak to our kids at one of our camp, and they were really intrigued by the whole circle of life connection. They asked how they could help the bee population. And for Dave, it was simple. He said, keep bees. And so that was the beginning of Honey Lodge. We started with 3 hives. We're now up to 50 hives. And the youth have taken that on. And really, once they've been with our program and learned the core values and virtues and how to live as a Lakota, having a confidence in knowing who you are, this became a wonderful opportunity to learn how to live that in an entrepreneurial experience.
Self-empowering you to have a job that you have created.
And this is an opportunity for them to learn what it means to truly care for something else and be responsible. And then to take those and learn business skills.
Yeah.
What does it take to market, to create a label?
Yeah, I think what's so neat about this project is, you know, to teach kids the value of money and work ethic. Aaron and Felicia, so it was really fun, you know, going out and a little scary. Watching you guys earlier with the bees and so what is your favorite aspect though of the whole process of honey, of like beekeeping?
For me, the aspect of it would be like just having something productive to do, and it's really good for the environment.
Now, how long have you guys been doing this? You guys?
I've been doing it for a year.
Okay.
I've been doing it for a year too.
So throughout the year, has there been something that you're like, wow, I didn't know that, or?
I didn't know the women bees did the most work.
Well, we know that. They always do.
Yeah,
every society know. But that's neat.
Yeah, I didn't know the drones, the ones that protect the hive. I didn't know they were the men. Well, I did, but like...
Yeah, you didn't really know their whole role.
Yeah, I didn't know which role it was.
Because I never knew how to make honey, and I'm still learning a lot from bees.
How many pounds actually of honey have you harvested?
We've actually harvested and sold quite a significant, for us, amount of honey. We've averaged over about 1,400 pounds of honey in a little over a year.
Oh, wow.
And we also have keep some to use at our camp, for our youth camp. And so the funds that we use...
Yeah, because you're probably able to distribute, which is nice. Now you can kind of pass things on. And...
Right, now we can pass things on. And once we realized that other people were interested in buying our honey, then we decided, okay, we've got to figure out how to market it. And then, oh, by the way, what do we do with the funds? Well, the funds, as with any business, a portion of the funds have to go into continuing to support the business. Any profit above that goes back into the youth. It really does. It goes into helping some of our lead honey and beekeepers to provide them a stipend.
Yeah.
There just isn't enough summer youth programs out there.
Well, being outside and outdoors, and it's very magical.
Well, we are just really committed to helping our youth. We can make some substantial changes when we're able to help youth create that foundation of self-identity and then helping them to figure out how they live that way in the world now.
I love honey. You know, I always have it in tea, but I don't think people realize, you know, that you can bake with it. I love kind of fall, and a lot of times there's maple syrup, and so I had changed and tweaked this recipe, and I thought I'm going to use it with honey, and it turned out wonderful.
It just adds a real extra flavor, and especially if it's local honey, it really adds a lot to your diet.
It's really simple. It's probably like 8 ingredients. So right now I'm starting out with brown sugar. You can use self-rising cake flour, but I like to just use regular cake flour. So what I did was I added a little bit of baking powder and then a little bit of salt. So I'm going to take the butter. I'm just going to crack. Maybe if you want to whisk that gently. It's not a big bowl, sorry.
It's all right.
And this calls for 1/4 cup of honey. And like, you know, like a lot of times I was talking to someone about honey and they're like, oh, I use it, but then I go back and it's all like, you know, crystallized. And I go, all you have to do is put it in hot water and it comes right back together.
And it's a really good way of knowing that you have pure honey. Honey that naturally crystallizes sitting on the shelf. You want to store it at, you know, a cool, dry place, but eventually it will crystallize, but it doesn't go bad.
Okay, so then what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have you grate this apple.
Okay.
And the whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it. Oh, these apples smell delicious.
But these are Haralson apples, and I find them because they're nice and crisp. They're great for baking. They just have a nice flavor for eating as well.
Wonderful. Another great food for bees, apple blossoms.
And I was thinking about you because you have your tree at your house, so you could easily do this. And then what I'll do with the rest of the apple, and I'm gonna slice it up, and then I'm gonna cube it, and then I'm gonna add it to the flour mixture. The flour kind of coats them so they all just don't sink into the batter. I'm gonna have you grate the orange, because the recipe, I like cinnamon, but cinnamon's in everything. And I thought it would be nice to actually use a little bit of grated orange. And I'm just going to add This is going to take 20 minutes. What I like to do is when it's baking, sometimes the back of the oven I find is hotter, and so like halfway through baking I'll twirl it around, and then so I'll set the timer for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to make confectioner's sugar, kind of a drizzle. I'm just going to look at it, and they might actually be done.
They look gorgeous.
These should easily fall right out.
Looking good.
Yay, thank you, honey God. Okay. And then we're going to let these cool really well before we put this on there, the drizzle, because it'll just fall off, and it's a little bit nicer if it's not so hot. I like to put it more in the middle, and then it kind of like falls down on the side.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, we better see what you think first, and then you can be honest.
Well,
cheers.
Cheers.
I can take.
Really delicious flavor.
I like the honey with the apple. It makes it just, and a little bit of orange as opposed to like cinnamon. It kind of makes it just a different flavor. You know what's been wonderful about this dessert? Got to go out to the youth camp, watch the kids and how they took care of their hives, how you spun the honey somewhat. So it was really nice to see that, like the whole cycle of the life of the bee and celebrating the bee through this dessert.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
For having
No,
us.
you're welcome.
Yeah, great.
And I forgot, how do you say thank you in
Pilama yaye.
Pelama Yaye?
Kea is Lakota for turtle. Turtle represents family, fertility, and for us it also, the turtle, you know, it lives in two worlds. It walks on land and it lives in water, and you know, we as Native American people, we also have to live in two worlds, you know, reaching back towards our culture and our ancestors, but also learning how to live in this new contemporary world. The garden is the central aspect of everything that we do. You know, we always talk about wanting our kids to have access to opportunities and fulfilling their potential, but at the same time, they have to be healthy enough to do that.
We grow corn, we grow tomatoes, we grow, as you can see, sunflowers. We grow a whole variety of different items. We try to give kids the opportunity to explore different things in their diets. We had about 40 interns or so that came through over the summer, and they came through, actually worked out in the garden about 4 hours a day, helping with the harvesting.
What I love about Shine River Youth Project is we could work here even though we're young, and that we could get money for like doing things we like. I made friends going to that cooking class, and it's cool. Like if you participate in things, you can make friends.
You learn about your culture and how much your culture means to you. My name is Cheyenne Dennis. I do it because I like to volunteer and stuff.
We want to get this generation of kids involved in food sovereignty and the idea of not having to go to the store for everything that you need, but be able to grow some of your own food.
We have a farmer's market, and so we sell that to the community at reduced rates. You know, The produce in our community is extremely expensive, really hard to get a hold of. Our goal is to get vegetables into families' homes. And then we also can a lot of it. Oh, I canned like 400 beets one day, you know, and then we sell those.
I like to make traditional foods and like wojapi and buffalo meat.
When we started the Kea Cafe, like it just made sense to sort of take back our food in that way too. I'd never heard of what farm to table was. I didn't know that concept. It just made sense. If we were going to serve something, you know, why would we pay, you know, those unaffordable prices that exist in our food desert when we could just grow it and use it? You know, we are almost 30 years old, and for 12 of those years, we were completely volunteer-based, and we didn't have any, you know, large grant funding. We didn't have anything like that. So we understand the concept of having to support ourselves, and so whatever comes from the Kea Cafe goes directly back into youth programming to support CRYP. CRYP is the Cheyenne River Youth Project. We're a grassroots nonprofit youth and family services organization founded in 1988. Well, the Kea Cafe, in terms of like our interns, it's a mentoring tool, it's a teaching tool. And you know, in the beginning we wanted to just teach them how to make coffee so that if they went to college, they could find a job because, you know, college students live on coffee.
I think I'd call Teen Center like my second home. Like, it just kept me out of so much trouble throughout the years, and I really like it here. CRYP helps me prepare for the future by allowing me to come and work for these internships just to like get me ready for like real jobs and help build resumes. And the Kea Cafe internship, like, it just helps them build like teamwork and allows them to have a place to come and like do what they love and do what they like.
I mean, it is a meeting place. It's a place where people can come and enjoy a good sit-down meal. You know, it's slow food. It's not fast food. It's whole food. You know, we make everything from scratch. What's special about the baked goods and desserts that we have at the Kea Cafe, I think, is that, you know, we try to make some healthier options. We have a carrot cake that comes, you know, the carrots come from our garden. We grate them, and the chocolate zucchini cake, you know, that zucchini was growing in our garden this morning before I grated it and made that cake. So I think that's really special.
I really enjoy zucchini chocolate cake. It's really moist because the zucchini has a lot of water in it, and then of course the chocolate.
I don't think I really know so much of it out of here, but our kids will eat it because we feed it to them. I don't know so much that it gets cooked at home though, right now.
You like it?
But the people who come, because that's the dessert we use to cater for Kea Cafe typically, they really enjoy it, and they're always surprised to hear what it is when the time comes to unveil. We really want people to understand the food that they're putting into their bodies. We want our kids to learn, you know, how to be good workers and good employees, because someday they're gonna grow up and they're gonna be, you know, the leaders in our community. People understand that it's more than a cafe. It's not just a cafe.
Well, another spot in South Dakota I haven't been to, and one of my favorite seasons. I think fall, you know, coming to an end is kind of a great time to reflect, you know, on the season. Mm-hmm. And out here, now, what do you and your husband Gene produce?
Well, the main thing we're going to look at today is the flaxseed, but we also grow wheat, soybeans, and corn.
Okay, and now flax, tell me about, because I see you brought these in.
This is what it's like dried. But inside these little bowls, if you crush that, you get
all these seeds.
Yep, you get 8 to 10 seeds in one of those those little ones.
How? Why did you guys think of like, we're going to start growing flax?
We had seen it in the grocery store at one point, and then I had an issue with cholesterol, and my doctor told me, you know, flaxseed is something good to try to use for that.
Oh.
And so we started growing it and just thinking of it as just a value-added ag product that we could continue marketing, you know, for the farm. So we started really slow. We started just in a semi, and that's where our office was, and things grew. And it likes the cooler weather, so you plant it. It's one of the first crops that you plant. And so then it blooms about 4th of July, end of June and into July, shortly after wheat harvest, or then we harvest it.
Now, do you guys save seeds, you know, like here for yourself, and then do you send some to be pressed for oil, or?
No, we use all of the seed ourselves. We have 2 grades of flaxseed. When the new crop comes in, that's what we use for the human consumption, and then the older grade gets put off into the, we call it craft or feed.
Oh, okay.
Because some people use it to feed their chickens.
Oh.
And that gives them their omega-3 eggs.
So you started like experimenting with it, because I assume there really wasn't many cookbooks or anything about how to use flax seeds, or?
Yeah, I had come across one cookbook, and that was my goal, was to redo all my recipes and, you know, and make a cookbook, which never came to fruition yet. Not yet.
When you're using it, is this equal? Can it be just like used like flour?
There's no gluten in the flax, and so if you use all flax, it'll be flat. So if a recipe calls for 3 cups of flour, you can use 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of flax.
Oh, okay.
But then you also want to reduce the oil a little bit because of the content of the oil in it.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds, I mean, that's a great way to eat cookies and then still be healthy.
And basically, for 1/4 of a cup of flax, you can reduce your oil by a tablespoon.
So now you're gonna show me how you make a specialty cookie using flax. I guess I know I love cookies, so.
Yes, I'm going to make a chocolate chip cookie. That's my husband's favorite, so he.
You used to say happy wife, happy life, but it's really happy man, happy life.
So, in my recipe, in most of my cookbooks, I have a little note written on what I have done. So. I'm going to mix that a little bit. Yep. Let's see the sugar.
Okay, now you're just going to cream the sugar and the butter together.
Yeah. And I got brown sugar that goes in with that.
So what else do you like making out of flax besides cookies?
You know, I try sticking it in as many things as possible. I have even made like a fruit salad. Since flax has a nutty flavor to it, especially if something has like walnuts or something like that to it, it just adds another little flavor to it. I have some water here. So because when you're taking out some of that, then you can kind of judge, okay, are we too dry, which I am really dry.
Do they spread out more than a regular chocolate chip cookie, you notice?
No, not really.
And do they bake the same? Your oven's like at what, 350?
Correct. I'll just leave them like this, and it takes about eight minutes. I'm going to take them out this time.
Ooh, those look delicious. They look perfect. Now, how soon do we have to wait for the cookies to cool before we eat one?
Well, according to my husband, it would be like now would be fine.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of my husband's favorite, this is Gene, and he's here to help sample.
The official cookie taster.
But you really don't taste the flax?
No, I mean, you don't really taste it. I mean, it tastes a little bit different, but that's great. And who would know that this is really healthy for you?
So you're getting a little bit of protein in here and some fiber. It's fun to just play with the recipes. I like cooking, and so I play with a lot of the different dessert recipes and such that we have, and add what I can.
Explore the culinary landscape of South Dakota online. Enjoy additional video, tips, recipes, and more. Join the potluck at sdpb.org/food.
I'm going to go into the basement, okay?
Off she goes.